Are Japanese girls in particular hard to date? This one is. Yeah, basically, she called me a son of a which calls my mom a and she did that in front of my mom. Maybe we're just bullying you too much here.
That was a betrayal?
Is this where you called me a mother?
I didn't say that. Welcome back to my space. 皆さんおはようございます。まこです。今バンクーバーに向かっている途中なんですけど、せっかくなのでバレンタイン企画として私と高江さんで国際恋愛について話していきたいと思います。今回は私が高江さんに日本人女子と付き合っていく中で大変だなって思ったところを質問していきたいと思います。では早速始めていきましょう。Let's get started。何個かに質問を分けたので1個ずつ聞いていきたいと思います。まず1個目 Communication styles。 はい、 What is difficult about communication styles?
Yeah, that's a big one. I like to confront the problems. If there is a problem, I will say, let's talk about it. And even when I do that, you will not talk about it. And you will say, yep, I'm fine.Then that's not just Japanese, that's girls in general. Girls in general love to go, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
When they're not,
Yeah.
really difficult for you to open up about your feelings. I think we've talked about that enough, and we've been dating for so long that you do it now. But I think you've told me that in general, that's difficult even between like girlfriends.Right? It's just culturally Japanese don't talk about their feelings so, honestly. That would be probably the most difficult thing about communication style is you don't communicate.
We hold on to the feelings. Even though you find it like that was not nice or that I don't like that part of it, but like I don't want to make you feel shit.
So instead you just get mad at me later and make me feel really shit instead of just talking to me about it so we can fix it and prevent it from happening later.Yeah,
basically that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's because it is hard to word it out how I really feel about. And then also like I don't think Japanese prefer to have a conflict. They avoid the situation that's very awkward and uncomfortable arguing.
Yeah, the fight is easier because you just let the emotions out.Than to like talk about it, or the talking about it doesn't have to be like awkward or a fight. It can be when both partners are like clear on that. It can be quite normal and not a fight at all. You said difficult to express your emotions, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that's just because letting your thoughts out in verbal form is difficult, or why? Like, is that a you thing or is that?
It's probably me thing. You kind of think about it through in your head, and then you get the conclusion at the end in your head, and then.You just like, you know what, whatever, and then move on.
Yeah, that's really difficult. That's true. I agree.
That's
that is
how
definitely
we
what
fight
you do.
All the time.
You assume I'm gonna say something or you're gonna get a certain reaction, and then you don't bring it up, and then you create that reaction because you didn't bring it up, and we could have just talked about it, and instead it's a fight because everyone held in their feelings.
Yeah. Don't Canadians also like hold their feelings and they don't really tell you as much as Americans?
Canadians are very similar that way. I think Americans are just maybe a little more rude, like not just specific to this kind of thing, just like in general. That is my understanding of Americans, is they're just more rude. I could be wrong, I don't know, I don't live in the States. But if you ask a Canadian, like, how's your day? Always they go, oh, it's good.
Yeah, always.
I think we're less direct, we're just more direct than Japanese are.
Next question. Family dynamics? Like how the relationships with family is different.
Like with your family versus my family?
Yeah.
We'll talk about my family first because it's easier. It was easy. Like my family very much did not care to like let Mako in. It was easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Mako was surprised at how easily my family just kind of accepted her. But with her family, they were probably more accepting than a normal Japanese family, I'd say. Think of some of your friends where the parents are very traditional, and like some of the stories I've heard, it's like they don't care as much about like my status or where I come from or what I do.
Japanese parents are perfectly not to see daughter's boyfriend until they get engaged.
Yeah,
basically.
Your parents didn't care as much.
But the first year when I tried to bring Takai home, to Japan for winter break, that was like after half of a year dating, I texted my dad or mom, say, hey, I will bring Takai home next winter break, and they freaked out. And they were like, no, you're not bringing a boyfriend. You're still a student. Financially, you're still dependent on... And I got so upset. I think we had a huge fight over it. It's because for Takai's parents, they're so nice to me already. They're like giving me Christmas presents. They're like taking
Like a couple, like technically we'd only been dating for like a couple months and...
That time?
Yeah, like first year.
It was the first year, yeah.
We did like Christmas stuff together and we'd only been dating for a couple months.
Yeah. And also I was living in his mother's basement back then. So I got extra upset because like his parents are really doing amazing things for me. And how come my parents are not doing that to my boyfriend? And but at the same time, I realized that that's cultural difference.
That's a cultural difference, yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah.
We made it back to the topic.
Yes, exactly. The next topic is about cultural etiquette. I think you find it more when you were in Japan.
Yes, but also no. Like sometimes when you lived in our basement, like my mom's basement, right? There would be things all the time where you're like, you can't say that in front of your mom or stuff like that. And you'd like punch me and be like, you can't say those things. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? It's my mom.
Yeah, like, okay, so for example, when we moved to her basement suite, I don't remember what I was upset about, but I was
You were upset about something.
And I was telling him how I felt about. And then it was about her basement suite, I think. And when she came downstairs and she was like saying hi to us and blah blah blah, we were talking, and then he started like, Mom, Mako didn't like this. And I'm like, that was a betrayal.
Is this where you called me a mother?
I didn't say that.
You did in front, remember? Or you called me a son of a...
That was a different time.
I thought this was the time you called me a son of a...
I didn't have much interaction with her back then. And obviously I want her to like me. And I would not expect you to tell her that I was complaining about something.
But it wasn't something that would offend her. It was somewhere she'd be like, oh, okay, I can fix that. I can stop doing that thing that you don't like. Because it wasn't like a big thing. That could be like etiquette, I guess.
I guess so.
Because for me, that was like natural. It was like, well, kind of going back to the last topic, is like, it was enough of a problem where I thought I should say it because it's bothering you. And it's going to keep bothering you if we don't talk about it. That's actually both topics. It's going to keep bothering you if we don't do something about it. Just to go back to when she called me a son of a... that was, she got mad at me for something in front of my mom. Yeah, basically, she called me a son of a... which calls my mom a... and she did that in front of my mom, and she didn't realize it till after, and then she went, uh-oh.
I think my face turned into pale. It's like, oh shit.
And both of my mom and I were laughing because we both thought it was so funny. And Mako did not think it was funny. Mako was, I think, mad at me after for that.
And then your mom said, you deserved it.
She probably said that, yeah. I don't know if I did deserve it. Anyways, in Japan, or I saw a lot more of that being a thing. Like, for example, it's weird to me that every time you go to somebody's house, you have to bring them like a gift. Because we go to my friends' parents' houses since I was young all the time, and never would we bring gifts ever, even unless it was like a birthday or like an event like Christmas, or we wouldn't just bring a gift just because. At the wedding, there was huge like etiquette misunderstanding because you guys were all speaking Japanese and I didn't understand what's going on, and then midway through your sentences, everyone would just be bowing and I'd just be like, uh-oh, and because I couldn't understand the context of the conversation, so my only cue for bowing was everybody else bowing.
You're like...
Yeah. But this isn't really difficult. The cultural etiquette isn't really difficult. It's a culture shock, but it's not difficult to date. It might be for some people to get used to that kind of etiquette, especially if you're, I guess, less open to that. I don't know, because there's so many small things. Like etiquette on the train, for example, is unique because we have trains here too, like subways, and you don't have to be so quiet. Here, people are loud and annoying, and some people play music out of speakers on the train. Like that's a culture shock on its own. Like there's so many different like cultural etiquette things that are different.
フェリーがバンクーバーに着いちゃったので、急遽フェリーから出て場所を変えて続きをお送りしたいと思います。The next topic is the language barrier. Do you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, it's tough because you get really frustrated and you'll say things that don't make sense, and I try to help you and I don't understand, but you just repeat. Maybe we're just bullying you too much here. I imagine this is a problem with other couples too. You'll repeat the same thing over and over again, and I'm like, no, but you need to describe it, and you'll just say the same word, and And then I'll be like, I don't understand. And then we're both like wanting to cry. So definitely language barrier does affect the relationship.
Okay, so the reason why I repeat same thing over and over, it's because I thought he wouldn't understand what I said. It could be just the pronunciation. So like I tried to say again, and then he get mad at the end. So
Because it's not pronunciation, it's an issue where she's saying something that doesn't make sense and not explaining it. The biggest difficulty with language barrier is that you have to be willing to explain your thoughts. Like if there's something that the other person doesn't understand, you have to be willing to explain it in different words. Whether it's you not understanding English or me not understanding your English. One of us will repeat the same thing and it doesn't get anywhere useful. And it makes fights sometimes, like because of frustration.
yeah,
I don't think it happens as much, but there was a while where it did happen a lot.
in the beginning of the relationship.
But it wasn't like mad. No, it was more mad in the middle because it was like we've been together long enough we were comfortable to be like, I don't understand. You make no sense. But in the beginning, we were very nice. We were a lot nicer.
What? That's so wrong. Like I have a question, but I don't know how to word it. Could you
Okay,
help
well,
me?
this is perfect because we just had that topic. So
So-
take your time and think about how you want to explain it.
What part of your lifestyle has been adjusted into Japanese culture?
That's easy.
Yeah.
I have a Japanese girl that lives in my house.
Okay, that's not the actual answer I'm asking for. Like
That's how it is really changed. That's how my...
Is there any behavior like that you
I don't think
have to
I don't think so.
like
I'm, like-
adjust it?
We have both changed, obviously. One, we've just gotten older. Even if we weren't with each other, we would have changed over the last 7.5 years. But specifically say what is hard, but people change over almost a decade.
So there's no answer really. Like
I don't
is it-
have a good answer because I can't think of anything specific where it's like, well, I adjusted this to cater to your Japanese needs. Like,
to speak Japanese.
I think that's the case. Do you want to conclude with like a summary of why it's difficult to live with Japanese?
Yes, please.
The summary of all this, it really depends on you. It depends on both people, right?
Yeah.
Because some of the things we describe might be unique to us. The hardest parts of the international relationship is probably just understanding each other's cultural like difficulties, the things that like trigger the other person, right? Because certain things to you might be more upsetting were at one point. I think a lot of that you've worked through because you don't care anymore now that you've been here. You take things less seriously, right? For example, you're more able to joke now, whereas before you were so serious and like you didn't really understand joking around.
Like a sarcastic.
Yes, but sarcasm's a good example. But just like you didn't understand like joking around with friends
Yeah.
in a way where you're like making fun of them.
Yeah.
But that's so normal here,
Yeah.
right? Like you show your friends like you're close by being willing to make fun of them, right? For you, that was a tough thing originally. So there's small things that are like culturally relevant, I guess. And I think that applies to any international relationship. It's not just specific to Japanese, but are Japanese girls in particular hard to date?
Yeah.
This one is. I mean, no. The answer is like no. There's nothing that makes Japanese girls particularly difficult to date.
はい、そんな感じで暗くなってきたので今回はここまでにしていきたいと今回はここまでにしたいと思います。もしこの動画が良かったらぜひ LIKE ボタンと、ぜひチャンネル登録もお願いします。もっと高井さんとこういうことを話してほしいっていうアイディアがあったらぜひコメント欄で教えてください。Thank you so much for watching. See you later. Bye.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba